Hey everyone, just a quick thought before we begin. I'm not a person of color, so I can't sit here and say that I fully understand or completely grasp all the struggles that entails on a daily basis. However, I know inequality when I see it. I know injustice when I see it. I know callousness and arrogance when I see it. So I stand with Black Lives Matter because until they do, all lives can't. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I, of course, am Mr. Warren Hayes, and this is the June 4th edition of said Mr. Warren Hayes Show, and we are going to be talking about professional wrestling for the next few minutes. If you want to hang around and stick around for that, that'd be cool. That'd be fun. Hey, you know what? Because we have a good time here. That's why. Because we're here to have fun. Right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. Because I record this show live every Thursday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Correct. That's right. I come in here and I do this in front of people who take time out of their busy days and this crazy times that we live in to come and chat wrestling and chat amongst themselves. And we have, once again, a wonderful crowd amassed here this evening, such as Kelly tone-deafness. I'm sorry. I massacre it every time. Kelly, I'm really glad to see you. Tim Traver, good friend of the show, is here as well. Thomas Gories, how you doing? Good to see you. We got our boy Throwback who is in here, of course, folks. Don't forget to subscribe to Throwback's channel. Go check that out. Go follow him on Twitter as well. You know what to do. Throwback's a good dude. You want to check out his stuff. He did his second episode of his show this week. Go check it out. Scott Frame is here as well. How you doing? Robert Larry, good to see you as well. Anakin JMT is here. Yes, Anakin JMT is definitely here. Who else is in here? Who else we got? I know we've got a bunch of people. We got Carlos is in the house as well. Benoit, you're here as well. How you doing? Evan Wright in the house. We've got my goodness, we've got there's a lot of chats going on tonight. Woo, you guys are already on fire. I'm sure I'm missing people. Daniel Price, I saw you. I'm sure I'm missing some people, but hey, you know what? Thanks for being here. Thank you for coming over to the Mr. Warren Hayes Show this evening, and I hope that you enjoyed. I hope, if you feel like it, that you give the video a thumbs up because that's the kind of stuff that YouTube really likes. YouTube likes when videos get thumbed up, and when it likes videos that get thumbed up, well, then these videos get spread around a lot more, and more people see it, and that means more people get to join in on the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, and who doesn't want that? Or maybe you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, and that's cool too. Then why don't you show a little love there as well, over on YouTube, not YouTube, but not YouTube, excuse me, on your favorite podcast app. That would also be fantastic. Yeah. So that also shows a little love there. Whether it's a review, a like, a subscribe, you know the drill. You guys know what to do, so go check that out. You can also check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. If you subscribe there, you get to join us on the post stream. Warren is Off the Clock, which happens every Thursday. Once I'm done here doing my gimmick, my thingy thing here, you can head on over there. And then we can talk some more wrestling tonight. I want to talk about something I haven't talked about in a while. The women's divisions on WWE's main rosters. I want to talk about that. So it'll be some good stuff. So go check that out. You can also support the Mr. Warren Hayes Show two other ways on top of that. You can become a member of this channel here. If you go to youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes, there's a button there that says join. And if you join the Mr. Warren Hayes Show, well, you show, of course, support for your boy. And in exchange, you get some exclusive emojis that members only can use in the chat. You get the ratings, stickers, hot trash, cool beans, warm soda. You get my face, you get Goldberg's face, and you have your girl Kristen Ashley judging you as well. So if you want to support that way, that's great. You can also leave a super chat and any amount, and I will read your question or comment live on the air, such as Evan Wright left us a super chat. Thank you, Evan, and Anakin JMT as well. We both have Venus related stuff. Venus, of course, my former Uber Eats delivery guy. Evan says this one's for the Venus fun. Anakin JMT says, have you made up with Venus yet? Listen, I don't know what happened to Venus, and it breaks my heart. I want Venus to be able to live forever with us. I don't know what to do. I think he's shut me down. I think Evan Wright became a member. Thank you very much for joining the Mr. Warren Hayes Show channel, Evan. I don't know what's wrong with Venus. Look, at first I thought he might have been kidnapped. Now I think he's stopped delivering to me or to dudes. I think he's just done with that. I think it's just like, I don't know what happened to Venus anymore. Our buddy Throwback left us 2 very generous super chats. Throwback says Warren was upgraded from a 55-inch TV to a 65-inch TV because that's what Throwback listens to me on. He has me huge. I don't know why anyone would want that. I feel intimidated by that. It sounds like a Blue Chew segment. Yeah, okay. So with the Triple H conference today happen, he talked about the Fight Pit match. Do you think, who do you think should be in the next Fight Big? Damn Bengals jersey. Who should be next in the Fight Pit? Look, I love the Fight Pit. I'm going to tell you who should be in the Fight Pit. Timothy Thatcher. That should be his thing. That should be his match. That was absolutely fantastic. I want Timothy Thatcher to become like the absolute master of the Fight Pit. And then when you start thinking a little bit of the NXT roster, who's on it, who can get into it, who can become a good Fight Pit contender. Listen, just off the top of my head, you've got Pete Dunne. That would be amazing. Kyle O'Reilly. Bobby Fish. These are legitimate guys. These are guys who have legitimate combat experience. These guys are true fighters. Just those 3 off the top of my head. Put them in there with Thatcher. Whew, hose me down. My God, that would be good. So yeah, that'd be amazing. Thank you for the super chat. Throwback also left another one earlier on. Again, thank you. With Drake now returning to WWE and no court of public opinion. And the court of public opinion is starting about this. Do you think Drake, Anakin JMT, thank you for becoming a member. Do you think Drake is standing up for himself and forcing WWE to reconsider him being there? I think I get the gist of your question, and I'm going to talk about Drake at the end of the show, but I think I understand your question where you're basically saying, the court of public opinion is split. I have very strong opinions about it. Do you think he stood up for himself? I don't think he did. But in any extent, look, I'll get into this later. I have the whole last part of the show is about Drake Maverick returning. Anakin JMT on top of that left a super chat as well. Says post show was worth it, guys. Just to see Warren's hair not covered by a hat. Oh boy. I have an appointment on June 17 to get a trim because there's certain people in my entourage who can't deal with this long hair anymore, if you know what I'm saying. So that'll be something. So thank you all for the super chats. Continue leaving them throughout the show. I will read them. Saturday morning. We're already really off track, but hey, this is cool. This is spontaneous live stuff. Saturday morning, I'm going to be doing a prediction show because we have a takeover in your house this Sunday. So Saturday morning, I'm going to be doing a prediction show, 11 a.m. per usual, and I will be joined by Spencer Love of Win Column Sports. Spencer's a cool guy. chat, and it'll be the first time that we'll have an opportunity to chat live and on the air. Hope you guys will tune in 11 a.m. Predictions previewing the show. It will be, of course, a good time. And I don't know if you noticed this. So look, check this out. Look at this. I'm wearing a beautiful t-shirt from designed by Kristen Ashley. Here, let me show it nice and proper. Kristen Ashley, women's wrestling. Look at that. She made the design herself, and I think I have crumbs on it. Excuse me. Not a very good sales pitch there. But hey, if you would like to get a stylish t-shirt like this, just like I'm wearing, that would show some support for Kristen Ashley, from belltobells.com, Women's Wrestling Wire, to get all your women's wrestling coverage. Of course, BELLTOBELLES.com. But if you want to show Kristen some support, you go to spreadshirt.com/Kristen-Ashley. Kristen, you can leave the chat. You can leave your link in the chat or something. I approve of that. I'll let you do that. You get a freebie. And you have 5 days. There's 5 days left if you want to get the t-shirt at 15% off. Yeah. Go right ahead and do it. I mean, the time is now, folks. The time is now. And Kristen is fantastic. Starting a new gig over at Wrestling Inc. this weekend. She's going to be their weekend editor. My God! Give her some love. She deserves it. Works hard. Fantastic person. We got some more super chats. What's going on? Throwback says, rest in peace, the quarantine hair. Hey, you know what? Yeah. I mean, it's about time. What can you do? What can you do? Go Indie Now. How you doing? Welcome to the show, and thank you for the super chat. Wonder if you had a chance to check out the all-new programming NWA is producing on their YouTube channel, and what has been your favorite new show? That's a very good question. I encourage everyone, at bare minimum, to watch Carneyland, which is I think it's every Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the schedule. But Eli Drake's talk show, I love Eli Drake. As a talker, he's entertaining. I love the guy. I really, really do. So absolutely, go check it out. I think they've been doing a fantastic job, giving room for their talent to create create some stuff to keep the creative juices going while creating content for the channel. Definitely. I mean, it's a good way to keep the channel going, keep them alive. NWA on the NWA YouTube channel. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Are we good? Are we good now? Okay, so let's do the... yeah, we're good. Okay, let's do the weekly wrestling inspection. Hey, and thanks again, Ben, for the excellent tune playing in the background. Also want to say hello. I think I saw... yes, exactly. Jason PS3. I saw you pop into the chat. How you doing? Welcome, Jason. Good to see you as well. All right, let's get things moving straight off the bat. We are going to start by giving out some hot trash as we go back to last Friday night on Friday Night SmackDown, and we are going to talk about the Jeff Hardy thing. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I talked about this a little bit on the Fightful post show, and I'm going to tell you guys. The main problem that I have here is that his addictions are real. Now, we've seen WWE dive into real life situations in the past to further angles in any way, shape, or form. But we're going to take this on face value first and foremost. Jeff Hardy has had a history of battling addictions. Battles that he has won and has rescinded as well a few times. We've seen him in the ring in a state completely unable to compete. It's extremely, extremely dramatic and very, very real and terribly personal. He just returned last year from years, he relapsed last year after years of being sober. Remember when he came back with Matt, they did the whole redemption arc where they had that whole documentary where they were talking about Jeff's road to recovery, and he got some DUIs. He was arrested. He was arrested in 2019 twice, once for public intoxication, and then he got a DUI. He's an alcoholic. He has addictions. And I don't think leaning into these types of addictions, I don't think leaning into the storyline with someone who is still very, very much an alcoholic is a good idea. You can recover from being an alcoholic, and alcoholics will always talk about recovery, but they will never talk about being cured or being done with it. A recovery always indicates the possibility that you can slip, and the danger is always there. So the fact that Jeff Hardy is involved in these situations that could possibly trigger him, I don't think they're good. I don't care if Jeff Hardy gave his okay about it, that he said, sure, I'm fine, let's roll with it. He is an alcoholic. He's an addict. His mind can play tricks on him. And I think it's very strange that they would lean into this, especially a DUI angle where Jeff was arrested, but not only Jeff. Jimmy Uso is another gentleman who has problems. He's been arrested for DUIs. He was arrested late last year, with another DUI charge. Why are they leaning into this? Why are they using this as a vehicle? You could tell me it's entertainment. On other TV shows they do it. But here you have talent who have clear issues, real life problems. Why are you trying to create entertainment when you have talent that have exactly these issues? And instead of trying to treat them or maybe make the environment a little more comfortable with them, you try to keep pushing it. You try to continue to push this angle of this angle that, maybe Jeff Hardy's fallen off the wagon, we don't know, kind of thing. It's very, very callous. And on top of that, the tone deafness goes a little beyond that as well. It goes a lot beyond that as well. Professional wrestling has a history of problems with addiction. They're extremely well documented. In the 80s, the 90s, the number of boys who were addicted to painkillers and alcohol and cocaine and worse, combining everything together. We know the stories. We know the deaths. Road Animal Hawk, Bam Bam Bigelow, Brian Pillman, Chris Kanyon, China, Kurt Hennig, Umaga, for a fairly recent example. I mean, there's a level of tone deafness and complete obliviousness that WWE has here. And it should at least be able to recognize that at some point it was part of the problem. And leaning into addiction storylines like this is not good. It's not interesting, and it doesn't make for compelling storylines. And it doesn't do anything for Jeff's overall legacy, because they are going to look really, really fucking foolish if something happens to Jeff down the road. They literally have set themselves up for a Road Warrior Hawk 2 situation. I hope nothing happens to Jeff. I hope he stays strong. I hope he has the support that he needs to stay clean. I really do. I don't want this to have to end in a sour note and have to talk about this in 5 years on a Dark Side of the Ring documentary. I really don't. But WWE has set itself up for that, and they only have themselves to blame. Let's take a look at the super chats. Tim Trevor left a super chat. Thank you, Tim. It says, rough week for me. I'm glad to be part of the Warren Nation. Hashtag positive message. I don't know if I have a nation. But thank you, Tim. I understand. Sorry that you're having a rough week, my man. Glad you're here. Anakin JMT left a couple of super chats. Thank you again very much. Anakin says, I know I'm in the minority, but I thought the Otis segment was at best warm soda. The cheese factor was similar to the original Power Rangers, so I like the show, but not the cheese. Oh, we're gonna get to that in just a quick second, right after I read your second super chat. Sometimes they should never ask their talent if they're okay with something, even if they're sure they are. Better to assume they're not comfortable with it. Yeah, and here's the thing, and it's something that we don't talk about enough. There's nonetheless the idea that, as far as talent goes, talent is replaceable. Talent knows that when they're in a spot and they're given something, they need to take it. And I'm going to talk about this when we talk about when we talk about Drake Maverick later. But they always tell their talent in WWE. You know, when you have an opportunity, you have to seize it. You have to grab onto it, because that's your opportunity. That's probably where you're going to be able to make it. You know, you might not have another one. This is the one that you have to grab it when you get it. So a lot of them will comply and will say, yeah, let's go with it, because if they don't, then creative will say the worst thing that WWE creative can tell any wrestler. Oh, well, creative's got nothing for you. And then you sit at catering and you don't do anything. So it's one or the other. I think so there's always that fear from the talent to say no, because if they say no, they might not be in that kind of position moving forward. Or maybe they just want to make things easier on the boss. I don't know. There's so much stuff behind the scenes we don't know. Like I said, good for Jeff if he's comfortable doing it. It doesn't make it better in my eyes. But that was a good point that you brought up, Anakin. Thank you very much, and thank you again for the super chat. I want to say hello to Man Antonio, who joined the chat. How you doing? And welcome. Next we are going to move away from some hot trash and talk about cool beans. I really, really like the Otis segment, and I'm going to tell you guys why. For Otis as Phoebe Cates is something in and about itself. I think that was fantastic. But here's what they've done, that they've successfully done with this angle, and has put to rest a lot of people who were wondering, Mandy really isn't into him all that much. Mandy took a nap, fell asleep, and had a lusting dream about Otis. She is into Otis. She's in love with him. She wants to bone him. And I think that's fantastic, because it flips the whole concept on its head. It's not just Otis being like, oh, look at the pretty girl that weird old me was able to nab. She's like, this is my man. I think he's hot. I think it's fantastic. They flipped the roles here. They flipped the roles in as Mandy sees him as a piece of meat, which is fantastic, because you know that in the eyes of many, many male fans, Mandy is the piece of meat. I love this role reversal that they pulled off. It was goofy. It was cheesy, but it adds to the angle. Mandy is in love with Otis. It's just that simple. I like it. They're going to keep moving forward with this angle. I think it's good. It's wholesome entertainment, and I dig it. So cool beans for that. Anakin JMT left another super chat. Anakin, thank you so much. He says, I think this is the most insensitive WWE has been since using Jim Neidhart's death as a story with Natalya and Ruby Riott. And how poorly used was it? How absolutely cheap and basic level was it used, right? And they went to that well a couple of times. Natalya, remember Sasha Banks' return? Natalya was in the ring saying, hey, this was a difficult year because I lost my dad, and they leaned into that again. If WWE was able to build proper baby faces, superstars that we can get behind, they wouldn't need this type of small-time trickery, right? They wouldn't need to fall back on this kind of garbage. Yeah. Or these quick fixes, I guess you'd say. Because it's stupid. It doesn't serve anything, and it doesn't serve anything long term. It didn't serve Natalya long term. It's frustrating. Throwback left a very generous super chat. Thank you very much, Throwback. I really appreciate that. He says, the recent moves WWE has made creatively and business-wise has made no sense at times. Using the releases and the talent's real-life issues and relationships is an injustice in general. WWE needs a wake-up call. What would it take for them to stop? They have to start bleeding money because that's really the only motivating factor. But you're absolutely right. Lots of very extremely oddball moves. Again, we're going to talk about it when we come up to Drake Maverick in regards to releases and stuff. But it's been extremely frustrating to be a WWE fan. And you know what? We're talking about, like Throwback said, you know, the real life issues of the talents, their relationships, their employment statuses, right? But let's not forget the Saudi shows on top of that, right? I mean, let's not forget last year, 1 year ago, this is the same company who said, hey, yeah, having Dana Warrior put on Ultimate Warrior face paint in Pride colors to promote Pride Month by using the Ultimate Warrior, who was a renowned homophobe, was completely tone deaf and stupid. WWE has a consistent level is so consistently in a bubble that you wonder what they're thinking, what their motivations are moving forward. Thank God they didn't pull out the Warrior stuff for Pride Month this year. But holy shit. It's a pattern of stuff, man. It's a pattern. Tim Trevor left a super chat. It says, it's been 16 years clean from drug and drinking addictions. It's not easy to deal with demons. I feel bad for Jeff Hardy, but congratulations on you, Tim, for 16 years. That's a hell of an accomplishment. Throwback leaves another super chat, says, not another teen movie. That segment was amazing. I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. Or is it the thing with Phoebe K? I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to move on. We're going to keep going down my list here. Let's talk about, let's see over here. Oh no, we'll keep the cool beans up. Just going to talk real quick about the Seth Rollins versus Aleister Black match. Hey, you know what? Raw this week had some really good wrestling. We had some really good matches between Seth and Aleister Black, Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews, even though it was extremely short. Asuka and Charlotte was cooking right until this super stupid finish that really, really pissed me off. There was a lot of good stuff, but the Seth Rollins Aleister Black match, my God, they worked a hard match. Nice, long, hard match. And this was one of the better matches that we've seen on Raw in quite some time. Lots of great offense from both guys. Aleister Black's strikes were wonderful. Hits a nice German suplex. Rollins hits a Falcon Arrow. An arm breaker by Black. At some point, Rollins has to fight out of it. There's a roll-up for the win. Dale Gass, I guess, is Aleister's little buddy now. Hangs around him, and I don't know why Aleister wants him around, to be honest, but this was good. It was a good match. I like it. I like the Seth Rollins stuff these days. He's leaning into it. It's good stuff. Next, okay, let's give some warm soda here because I want to talk about the Rey Mysterio retirement stuff. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing here. Look, between you and us, me and yous and us, the lot of us, our boy Rey Mysterio isn't retiring. They've been teasing this retirement angle for like 18 months now, practically since he came back to WWE. I feel like 2 months after he returned, it was like, oh, Rey Mysterio, he's still got 1 or 2 left in the tank. Oh, what is he gonna do? I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know why this is the angle they think is going to help us. That is going to help create sympathy for Rey Mysterio, to help us get behind him. And I don't know why they're boiling it down to such a basic, elemental level. He's one of the greatest, most legendary luchadors, cruiserweights, the junior heavyweights, whatever you want to call them, of all time. And he's a bona fide legend. Is this all you have to offer? A legend of the magnitude of Rey Mysterio. In some cases, you could say he's the North American Jushin Thunder Liger to a certain extent. Your major tease with him is, am I retiring or not? He's had some of his best matches since coming back to WWE. Even before that, when he was wrestling New Japan and he did, and he was doing some of the indie shows. Wasn't he at All In? I think he was at All In. We're witnessing the end of an era, granted, but shouldn't he be going out with more of a bang? Why is it that, again, WWE feels like it has to take its legends and then be like, well, careers winding down. Are they going to hang up the boots or not? It's stupid. It's stupid. Ray can still go. He can still go, and he's a legend. There you go. He's a legend who can still go. He's a guy who has name value and can still go. I feel like WWE want to cast him into the Hall of Fame as soon as possible. You know what? I kind of understand why Chris Jericho decided to screw off and say, no, look, I still have some good years ahead of me. I can still do this. Same with Matt Hardy. At some point, WWE says, you know what? We're going to compartmentalize you. We're going to put you in this nice little box here, old timer. And at some point, we're going to flip the switch and we're going to give you your retirement send-off. Look at Kurt Angle. Look at the retirement angle that Kurt Angle, sorry, not trying to be funny here, but look at what they gave him on his way out. They tried to give him some interesting matches. We knew Kurt couldn't wrestle like Kurt used to, for sure. But we barely got any matches. And what was the match he bowed out on? To whom? Who did WWE decide to put over? Fucking Baron Corbin. When the logical money match, the match that everyone wanted to see, the full circle moment, god damn it, was John Cena versus Kurt Angle. And it was a level of match that Kurt Angle deserved. Kurt Angle has always been with WWE, has always been there for them when he was with them, of course, because when he was at TNA, but he comes back and takes it upon himself to work that WrestleMania match, the Ronda Rousey's first match with her, help her through it. My God. Let's get Baron Corbin on the way. It's the same thing with Ray here. I don't understand why we're making a big deal out of his retirement when Rey Mysterio is still capable of going. You know what? Here's what's going to happen. We're going to have a Ric Flair situation where WWE is going to have a retirement match, just like they did with Ric Flair. They're going to do the same thing with Mysterio. Mysterio is going to sign out, and then he's going to be like, you know what? I can still go, and we're going to see him wrestling in other promotions. We're going to see him in New Japan. We're going to see him hitting indie dates for sure. Absolutely sure. Convinced. So I don't like, so look, and the Dominic stuff. Why is Dominic involved? Why is Dominic here? I don't understand. I don't know why they're putting Dominic in this. Damn you, Seth Rollins, like Evan Wright said in the super chat. Thank you, Evan. Damn you, Seth Rollins. He's not charismatic. He's not good. I mean, I know Rey Mysterio's promo work it's never been his forte, but his son's isn't either. And he's not ready to go in the ring. Why? It just baffles me. It just completely baffles me. Next point I want to bring up is Kevin Owens versus Apollo Crews. I'm going to cut this down a little bit because I am going massively above the time I usually allow for myself here. But hey, if you want to come talk about some of the things I'm cutting out here, come join me on the post show right after this, patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. Good match for Kevin Owens and Apollo Crews. Now, you guys who watch the show, who listen to the show, you know, since Apollo Crews has come back, I've been very skeptical. I have said, hey, I have been drilled by WWE to not get behind an Apollo Crews match, push, because they seem to promise me something with them, but then they take it away, right? It's always the same thing. It's always the same thing. Yeah. So this is Apollo Crews' first defense as a brand new U.S. champion. And I want to underscore, I'm really happy that he's Universal Champion, not Universal Champion, U.S. champion. I'm very, very happy for that. I'm glad that he's getting some recognition, that he finally got a title, and that I hope he gets a proper push, because the guy is really talented and I want to like him, but WWE has to show me reasons to get behind him. And I don't know if I should get behind it yet. I feel like it's still a waste of time. They have him come out on his first night of his defense, and he can't pull it off. There's an interference. It's not that he can't pull it off, but the match doesn't happen. It doesn't occur. He was fighting Kevin Owens. Oh, we have to protect Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens could have taken the L. Kevin Owens could have literally laid down for Apollo Crews, and that would have immediately put a notch in the belt of Crews. As it stands right now, guys, they're proving me right, because I don't believe in an Apollo Crews push. That wasn't he should have won. He should have had a good competitive match with Kevin Owens and pinned Kevin Owens. KO, I'm sure would have done it without an issue. I'm convinced that he would have laid down for him without a problem. But we didn't get it. Instead, screwy finish. Apollo Crews doesn't properly defend his title on the first night he's out. That's bullshit. That is absolute bullshit. On the other program, you have Cody Rhodes, who comes out with his title for the very first time, and he has a good win. There you go. I mean, sometimes it's just as simple as wins and losses, folks. Sometimes it is. More super chats. Evan Wright says, I thank you very much, by the way. I wish we could have had Ray versus Liger before he left. Yes. But, I mean, it has happened. It has happened in the past. If you go back to some old WCW stuff, you can find Jushin Thunder Liger versus Rey Mysterio Jr., and it's a good time, trust me. But I think I know what you mean, like a later match when they are both bona fide legends. Yeah. Throwback 27 says, Lana, you're using my Bobby to just resurrect your career. MVP saying that makes two of us was such a good line. Yes, they're doing a pretty good angle with that. I could do without Lana just because she screams too much, but they're doing a great job with MVP moving forward. Anakin JMT says, Angle got himself cleared in record time to take Reigns' place in the Big Shield reunion match. Yes, when Roman was ill and he's given another Anakin. Perfect example of a guy who's just like, he's asked to do something and he does it, and he did get himself in shape for that match. Good job. That is very, very good. Let's zoom across a few things here. Britt Baker as the role in her role model get up with the road to rehabilitation that they started on Dynamite last night. Folks, who called it? I did. I said, this is what I want. It's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a disingenuous road to rehabilitation where you see Britt Baker lifting weights and just being like, oh, everything is so hard. It's exactly what they're doing, and I'm so here for it. It is so good. My God, Britt Baker is such a star. And they are using her so well, and she is leaning so hard into it, and she's enjoying it so much. Yes, it's cool beans. Yes, I'm sorry. It's cool beans. It is such cool beans. Dragging a 5-pound weight behind her wheelchair. It's fantastic. The ropes just go, just giving some very, very weak yanks as Rebel sort of cools her down. I want more of this every week. I want one-on-one interviews where she puts over how much of a struggle it is. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. Britt Baker is a reason to watch AEW, folks. Ooh, yeah. Could you have believed that in November last year, there was no way that I was saying that. It's crazy how much they've turned stuff around. Anakin JMT says that Mr. Perfect-esque Brit segment was brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I want more of it. It is fantastic. We're going to keep the cool beans going. I want to talk about FTR debuting on having a sit-down interview. I like this. Oh, DGMC joined us. Oh boy. It's good to see you. The FTR having the interview with Tony Schiavone was fantastic. I really liked it. It was good to see. I felt that we were closer to the NXT revival, right? Where they're a little smarmy, a little cocky, a lot cocky, but the smarminess was back. And I loved how they put over the tag team division, or how they talked about it. They go like, Santana and Ortiz. Yeah. We've never had a chance to fight these guys. You know, there's been some back and forth, and we want to get to these guys eventually. And I'm like, cool. All right. The Lucha Bros. Yeah. Hey, we don't like these guys. We're going to teach them about tag team wrestling. We're going to teach them how to tag. And I'm like, nice. Okay. Because as far as tag team purists out there on the internet go, the Lucha Bros make they're despised as far as purists go, because the rules of their matches are so wibbly wobbly, right? And then they say Omega and Page, yeah, they're the tag team champions, but they're not a tag team. They're two singles guys. I'm like, okay. I liked it because it all made sense. It makes sense in their persona that they are, these basic professional wrestlers, that stick to the basics is what I'm trying to say. So of course they'll put over a good tag team, solid tag team like Santana and Ortiz, who are grounded in fundamentals, and that they'll get pissy with the Lucha Bros, and they'll be like, your tag champs are two singles guys. I loved it. I swear, you'd think that this is the kind of thing they'd tell you on a shoot discussion. It's just like, hey, talk to me about the other tag teams. I felt that this was something that they would tell you legitimately, and I liked it. I liked the interview a lot. I think it did a lot for them. Set up the match with Butcher and the Blade, who are now in white. Okay. But I liked it. I thought this was really, really good. And I rambled on a lot of stuff. I wanted to talk about other matches. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc versus Omega and Page was really good. Hey, if you want, come on over to the post show and I'll talk about the main event of Dynamite last night. Cody versus Jungle Boy. Spoiler alert, I liked it. Spoiler alert, why did Cody bleed? But hey, we're going to wrap this up right now for the weekly wrestling inspection, folks. that if you want to have your question or comment read on air, you can donate a super chat, and I will continue doing that. So that's Evan Wright for Evan Wright. Who left a super chat. Thank you, Evan. Said thank you, Tony Khan, for Britt and Adam Page characters. This guy is doing so much good for the company, in my opinion. I'll tell you this much. When Khan and Cody in the lead up to AEW said, you know what, if things aren't sticking with the fans, we're going to pivot and we're going to change things and we're going to try to improve and make it better. They've been true to their word on that front. The Nightmare Collective was becoming a farce. They pulled the plug on it. Britt Baker's face turn wasn't working. They turned her heel. Adam Page was floundering. They tried something and it stuck. The Dark Order was turning into a joke. They tried something else with it. It has more steam than it had before, and they're doing it. They're going exactly in the direction they said they would. So yes, absolutely. And I think you hit the nail on the head, Evan. Britt and Adam Page are the two poster children for this type of mentality in AEW. Anakin JMT says, do you think FTC referencing FTR, I guess you mean, because the FTC is something else. Do you think FTR referencing Lucha House Party rules was a better way to, FTC referencing Lucha House Party rules was a better way to refer to a WWE angle? Oh, okay, then Jericho and Tyson stuff. Yes, because we all remember that gimmick, and we all thought it was stupid. The thing with the Jericho and Tyson stuff, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me half as much as a lot of people do, because Jericho makes a very good point. I heard him make a point about this, and he's right. The Tyson stuff is part of his history as a wrestler. It's part of his career, regardless of where it happened. You know, it's part of his history. So he's resurrecting a part of his history. Same thing here. I don't mind these guys referencing stuff that happened in their WWE careers. Why? Because they spent most of their careers in WWE. So it doesn't bother me. It honestly doesn't bother me half as much as other people do. So, yeah.
Hello, Warren. It is I, professional wrestling match bot.
Oh, hello.
I have returned again. I hope you are well.
Yes, I am.
That is good to hear. How is the weather?
Oh, mild, sunshine.
As long as it is nice for the weekend, am I right? I hope you appreciate my attempt at creating a bond that resembles human emotion with you.
Yes.
I believe it is time for you to talk about your favorite professional wrestling matches for the month of May 2020. Okay. According to my database of your tastes and proclivities in regards to professional wrestling, I believe the following matches are your favorite professional wrestling matches for the month of May 2020.
Okay.
Shall we begin?
Yes.
Okay. Here are your favorite professional wrestling matches for the month of May 2020.
Okay.
Los Sex Gods vs. Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega from AEW Dynamite May 6, 2020. Is this correct?
Yes, absolutely. I love this match. This was a little before Double or Nothing. It was the arena match where everything got really wild with the golf cart and everything. Fantastic match. AEW has been doing...
Drew McIntyre vs. Seth Rollins from WWE Money in the Bank May 10th, 2020. Is this correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was the best match on the card. Drew and looked like a superstar. Seth helped him look like a superstar. Fantastic.
Thank you. Drew Gulak vs. Daniel Bryan from WWE SmackDown May 15th, 2020. Is this correct?
Absolutely. Again, another great match, another great match between the two. Lots of technical stuff. They work so well together.
Thank you. Charlotte vs. Bayley from WWE SmackDown May 22nd, 2020. Is this correct?
Charlotte and Bayley gave us a treat that night. It's one of my favorite matches that we got on TV this year so far. absolute favorite
Thank
match
you. MJF versus Jungle Boy from AEW Double or Nothing, May 23rd, 2020. Is this correct?
Match of the night, absolutely fantastic. Old school match, every spot mattered. It go rewatch it. One of my favorite matches of the year so far.
Thank you. Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose from AEW Double or Nothing, May 23rd, 2020. Is this correct?
This match anointed Nyla Rose in my head as being a really good worker. It was time to put the title on Hikaru Shida, who will be a perfect representative
Thank
for
you.
the
John Moxley versus Brody Lee from AEW Double or Nothing, May 23rd, 2020. Is this correct?
Here's the match that everyone discounted as a WWE mid-card match, and me the first. So I was pleasantly surprised when it turned out to be an excellent, strong match between both guys.
Thank
and
you.
it helped
This
Brody Lee.
concludes the list of your favorite professional wrestling matches for the month of May 2020.
Thank you.
I hope you continue to enjoy professional wrestling and professional wrestling matches.
I hope so too.
Good night, Warren, and have pleasant dreams that don't involve evisceration.
Okay. Thank you, professional wrestling match bot. So these were my favorite matches of the month of May. There we go. Thank you, everyone. We got a couple of super chats, I think, while this was going on. Yes, we got Anakin JM2 said, "Twist. This bot is the Fightful hacker." Maybe. You never know. Oh, boy. Okay. That was something. All right. So, let's talk about Drake Maverick, just to wrap up the show. So, as you know, Drake Maverick released a few weeks ago on that very, very gloomy Wednesday, I think it was, when WWE started cutting all sorts of talent to be able to eventually hit expectations in the next quarter review, and suddenly he remained in despite the fact that he was cut from the roster. WWE decided to keep him in the Cruiserweight tournament. He had been announced for it, that he was going to compete in it, and apparently he had agreed, he being Drake Maverick, had agreed to continue to wrestle in the tournament, despite not working for the company anymore. And can't fault him for his professionalism for sure, but that was the situation that he was in. And we all saw the extremely teary video that he put out on Twitter about having lost his dream job and how painful it was for him. And we all felt an extreme amount of sympathy. I know a lot of people went out to purchase the t-shirt that he had put out to try and show him support. It was a very awkward, a very rough time. Throwback left to Super Chat says, "Is that bot Johnny 5 from Short Circuit?" I think Johnny 5 was a little more fun than Pro Wrestling Match Bot. I'm not sure about Pro Wrestling Match Bot. I wish it was Johnny 5. We could go on an adventure. So there we go. So basically, goes through the tournament and they do this whole underdog story with him. We're not quite sure where this is going. I think a lot of us felt that he wouldn't end up winning because he was fired. WWE made they publicly announced it through their PR channels. But no, it turns out that last night on NXT, he was offered a contract after his match. Triple H came out and gave him a hug and gave him a contract, and he got his job back. Thank you for the super chat, Anakin. Says Drake Maverick matches, cool beans. Him getting a new contract, cool beans. Him being forced to feel genuine anguish and worry when he was first cut for nothing? Hot garbage. Yep. There's a whole series of stuff here, and I'm going to try and... My mind is... The more I thought about it, the more disappointed I became once again in WWE, and I'm going to try and piece all of this together. Maverick cut a promo last night once he was done with his match. It ended up on social media, and hey, Hellbringer, good to see you. Welcome to the chat. And he said, when I look at people who disrespect it, when I look at people who don't seize opportunities standing before them, like, if you don't want them, I'll take them. And I took this one. When he says that kind of stuff, it's a little frustrating. Now, I know he's being scripted. And I want to preface this, kind of like what Anakin said in the super chat. Drake Maverick is a talented guy, and I think he has a lot of upside. He's a good worker, he's a fantastic talker, and he can do it all. He's got great personality, great charisma. He was fantastic in Impact. And whatever they used him on in WWE, well, he made the most of it, for sure. So I'm glad that he has a job. I'm glad he's back with WWE because he has a job. And I hope things go well for him. I really do. Now, the thing with him saying about seizing these opportunities and so on and so forth, a lot of people who were released on that day who didn't get this opportunity. You know, the Sarah Logans, the Zack Ryders, the Heath Slaters, none of them had this opportunity that they could grab out and seize and try to win their job back. That's extremely disingenuous. Leo Rush went out and made a very, well, I mean, I said very public tweet. It's all tweets are public. He says, I'm going to read it verbatim. He says, are they going to hire everyone back then? Kind of a slap in the face to use this as a shoot work. But I guess I'm not surprised. Super happy for anyone getting their job back, but damn, real trauma and a lot of others were a part of this. So we're all in this position where we're wondering, did he really win his job back? Or was this a work all along? And I kind of feel like this was a work all along. Drake Maverick, Triple H had the takeover media call today. And he was asked about Drake Maverick. And he said, they said, well, we had to keep him, we had to keep him in the match because we had him promoted for the tournament. And then the releases happened and they're horrible. So he was given an option to continue in the tournament and he wanted to. I'm like, and it bugs me. It really, really irritates me because this does look like a work shoot. It looks like they were using a terrible situation to create sympathy, to get an angle over, when a lot of people are in a very real situation and aren't part of the shoot angle. I'd like to think that it's not that, but it's looking more and more like that. And I think Triple H is he's playing the media when he says this type of stuff on the calls. Because you know that contracts aren't really signed at the top of a ramp with Triple H with his little portfolio, opening it up and then sign. That's not how it works. People actually sit down and read them first, maybe have a lawyer check it out before signing anything. This had already been set. I think it's extremely, extremely, extremely tone deaf. If this is indeed a work shoot, I think it's a horrible thing to do. Because it's not only respectful to large members of the audience who are in this position where they lost their jobs. They would have liked to keep their jobs, but didn't, and probably felt some sympathy for Maverick, but then WWE flips the script around to try and give us a feel-good moment. It doesn't work. And then there's all these other wrestlers, all these other WWE wrestlers who weren't in on the joke, who legitimately lost their jobs. That sucks. And then when you have WWE come around and say, hey, he had an opportunity and he took it. He wanted to stay in it. And Drake Maverick doubling down on it and saying, opportunities are there if you seize them. I call bullshit on that. 100% bullshit. Because people, it's never the wrestlers who get themselves over. Those things happen once in a blue moon, and it pisses WWE off to an umpteenth degree. If you don't believe me, 2 weeks ago, Zack Ryder was on the Jericho podcast. I talked about it on the post stream a couple of weeks ago, and he said, he debunked, WWE had to debunk their post-WrestleMania Raw talent speech where they get all the talent into the same room on the Raw after WrestleMania, and then they say the brass ring is there for whoever wants to grab it. Zack Ryder had been getting himself over with his internet show. People were chanting his name in the audience. They were bringing Zack Ryder signs into the audience. He was getting himself over, and WWE consistently gave him nothing to chew on, nothing consistent. They made sure that he wasn't properly pushed. He was reaching for that brass ring, and it wasn't there. Daniel Bryan's rise was a struggle, a legitimate, true-to-form struggle. Becky Lynch was supposed to be a heel, and despite the fact that we cheered for her when she beat Charlotte up, despite the fact that we cheered for her when she cut her promo the week after beating Charlotte up, despite the fact that the audience had always been 100% behind Becky Lynch, WWE was driving home the idea that she was the bad guy. No, folks, she's the bad guy. She's the heel. Go back and watch the excellent match that Becky Lynch and Charlotte had for Evolution. First of all, it's a great match. But second of all, listen to commentary talking about how dastardly and evil Becky Lynch is while the audience is cheering for her the whole time. The brass ring, the grabbing opportunities, it doesn't exist. And it makes it all the more insulting for everyone who has been kicked to the curb in this. It is so incredibly tone deaf. So incredibly WWE level tone deaf. It boggles my mind, and it's so manipulative. It is the most manipulative thing that they've done to their audience in such a long time. And this is nothing on Drake. Drake Maverick did what the boss asked him to do. And that's what a good soldier does. It's exactly like what we were talking about at the start of the show when when creative approaches a wrestler and says, hey, this is what we want you to do, yes or no, the wrestler's going to say yes because he wants to keep a spot, otherwise it's someone else who's going to get it. That's how the business works. That's how WWE works. I'm not going to talk about the business. This is how WWE works. Now they create this whole story here, and I've had people say, well, you know what? He didn't go out and shoot interviews and shit on WWE like all the others did, so that's why they brought him back. That's why he still has a job. Again, I call bullshit on that. WWE brought back Ultimate fucking Warrior, who had been shitting on the company for decades. And they brought him back. They can bring anyone back. They brought Hogan back, who was doing the exact same thing. They brought back Bret Hart, who spit in Vince McMahon's face on live television. It's a bullshit response. You have people go out and talk shit about WWE and get rehired all the time. CM Punk is an exception at this point. I'll tell you what this is all symptomatic of. I'll tell you what this all comes from. It comes from a lack of good creative. If WWE was able to make good creative, week in, week out, compelling stories, we wouldn't need these types of shenanigans that ultimately end up just pissing off people, insulting people, and making a whole bunch of people look bad and a bunch of people feel worse about their situation. That's one thing. If WWE was able to create stars, if they were able to lean in to wrestlers and say, you know what, we're going all in on this guy and that gal and those two people and make them larger than life, legitimate draws. If they were able to do that again, they wouldn't have to resort to this kind of asinine tactics to create phony sympathy. Oh, the lines were blurred. That's what wrestling is. No, not anymore. Kayfabe's been dead for a long time. We're not blurring the lines anymore. And why would we trust WWE's PR from this point on? Their PR has been systematically a legitimate line of communication between WWE and the media. We could trust it that the news that was coming through here was real. If this was a work shoot from the start and they added Drake Maverick into the pile of names that were legitimately fired or furloughed, where's the trust? It erodes the trust. The media's trust in WWE, which is already pretty shaky in and about itself. If the media here's my point, if the media starts to feel like they're a part of the show, that they're getting played, they're going to pull out. They're going to be like, no, we're not running your garbage anymore because we don't know what to trust. We can't trust your sources. Not even your official sources are trustworthy. Your official sources are lying to us effectively. They're feeding us bullshit. We don't want to run it. It's a messy garbage situation. And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because the guy who is at the center of this all is such a cool dude who is, a Marco stunt from another era. Too small, doesn't look the part, can't get it done. What the hell is he doing? And he carved himself a niche. He was able to get himself employed, able to do stuff, able to be taken seriously enough to be hired by rather large companies, and then the WWE. It's such a stupid situation. Anakin left another super chat and he says, dang, a non-Goldberg rant, a non-Oldberg rant. You want me to start talking about Gold? No, I'm not. Not tonight. I'm not talking about Goldberg tonight. No, sir. We are going to wrap this one up here. No, I'm not. I am not talking about Goldberg on the show tonight. No, stop it. Y'all are a bunch of enablers. That's what you are. Folks, remember Saturday morning, 11 a.m. right here on the channel. I'm going to be with our boy Spencer is going to come join us from Win Column Sports, previewing in your house, take NXT Takeover in your house this weekend. So that's really exciting. So be sure to be there on right here on Saturday morning. And I'm also hosting the post show on Fightful on Sunday evening with Alex Pulaski, so that'll be fun too. So be sure to do it both. Do it both. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. I want to thank you all for the super chats. You guys were really, really supportive tonight. Very, very generous on top of that. Thank you very much. Thank you. And welcome to the new channel members as well. Hope you have a good... Hey, and don't forget, go by Spreadshirt.com. Get yourself a Kristen Ashley t-shirt. They smell just like Warren Hayes. That's the thing here. Every t-shirt that's made is rubbed on my body so that it smells exactly like me. And the only way you know it's going to be true is to buy one and figure it out for yourself. Right up until that point, you're going to have to trust me. Throwback with a last-minute super chat says, WWE's PR is dead. This discredits them, and their word means nothing to anyone. It's not on a good track anyway, I'll tell you that much. When they start spreading lies through their official channels, I agree. That erodes trust. It's not good. Thank you for the super chat. Throwback. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining me this evening. I'll see you next time.